Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
Good evening, everybody. This is Steve of 2 Cents Sports. And that's Tuesday, time to midnight. Nobody's listening right now. I am recording this. It's Sunday. Welcome. I'm a week 14 picks here at 2 Cents Sports. I am getting ready to put on a show here. We got college football playoffs coming up real soon here, so we got to get those. We'll have a bowl game show coming up for you. So anyway, NFL season starting to wind down, folks. How's your fantasy teams doing? Anybody in playoffs yet? I've got my one top team. I finished 11-2 in. I got the championship game going on right now. Started a little bit with Thursday night's game. And my other two leagues, I'm in playoff position. I've clinched one playoff spot, and I'm in position for another playoff spot. All I have to do is win and put up some points just to make sure. Thursday night's game, Vikings at the Cardinals, was a lot closer than expected. It was actually a pretty good ball game. I had the Cardinals in that one. Of course, the Cardinals did pull it out. Kind of expected there to be a little bit more scoring on the Cardinals' end. And maybe not quite so much on the Vikings, but the Vikings put up a pretty good fight. And controversy at the end there. Vikings were in field goal range and decided they were going to run one more play. Now, I'm not sure if they were just to try to get a little bit closer or knock a little bit more time. Well, obviously it was to get closer, and it wasn't just to knock time off the clock because it was a design play. And it was a slow developing play, which doesn't make much sense. And, Teddy Bridgewater got strip sacked. Cardinals recover. Cardinals win the ball game. So not real smart there on the Vikings coaching staff, especially when they're vying for a playoff spot. But if you're a Buccaneer fan, the Buccaneers definitely could have used that win by the Cardinals and gets another notch down on the Vikings, who may very well just collapse. Anyway, so good win by the Cardinals. Had that game. Coming up, first game on the slot at 1 o'clock. Here in about 13 hours. We've got the Lions coming to St. Louis. Now, the St. Louis Rams offense is just awful, which is a shame because Todd Gurley just hasn't gotten anything done. He hasn't done anything about 5 or 6 weeks now. Since Nick Foles got pulled out, they just don't have any offense there in St. Louis, and it's absolutely killing that team. And teams are just stacking the box. Gurley can't get any run lanes, and they certainly have no pass threat whatsoever from the Rams. I actually gonna have to, in this game, I just got to go with the Lions in this one. Again, the Lions at least can put up some points, and yeah, St. Louis has a great defense, but they're still vulnerable to a certain extent, and if their defense is out there all day, eventually I think the Lions have enough offense. It's probably going to be a really, surprisingly, it's probably be a high-scoring game, but it shapes up to be anything but that. But I do like the Lions in this one. Next 1 o'clock slate, you've got another big NFC South matchup, Falcons and the Panthers. Falcons continue their slide. They've lost 5 in a row now since they were 5-0 to start the season. They are now 6-6. The 5-game losing streak. And the Buccaneers took it to them again last week, swept that series from them. Although they are tied with the Falcons, they have that 2-game lead on them. And I'm going to actually tell you what, I'm actually going to go with the Falcons this week. I'm going a little bit off kilter, which I did last week, which caused me to go 5-11 last week. I'm pretty embarrassed by that, but I kind of knew that that's what was going to happen. I was 11-5 the week before, so I said, let's take some shots, and a couple of them almost came through. So I'm down to 111 and 80 overall. But I'm going to go with the Falcons this week. Carolina keeps doing it. They are at home. Their defense is great. The Falcons just don't have any flow on offense whatsoever. Everything right here just tells me that I should be picking the Carolina Panthers, and I should be, but I just not a believer that this is a team that's going to go undefeated. Look, the Saints. I picked the Saints last week to be the team that gave them their first loss, and I was so close to getting that right. Carolina is just ripe for a loss. This would be the perfect team to do it. At home, it just would be unexpected. So that's why I'm doing it. But if Carolina wins, I'm not going to be surprised. And like I said, everything leads me to believe I should be picking Carolina in this one. But I'm just going to take the Falcons. And I kind of do want Carolina to win. At this point, it doesn't matter. Let's get the Falcons out of there. Next up, we got Washington coming into Chicago. Weather shouldn't be a factor, as anybody can tell you that it's crazy warm right now across the country. The Bears are playing a lot better. You think that they're going to, at least you think they're playing better, and then they fall flat in their face like they did last week and lose to the 49ers. But I'm going to go with the Bears at home this week against Washington, who also in their own right should have been able to beat the Cowboys last week in that Monday night game. It was just one of the worst games to ever have to watch. So they also have a chance to win their division and just don't seem to want to. I'm going to go with the Bears in this one. Next up, we have the Bills going into Philadelphia. Philadelphia Eagle fans are super excited. They really think, but I'm going with Buffalo. Unfortunately, Eagle fans are fresh off that fluke win against the Patriots, and I call it a fluke win because when you have a block punt for a touchdown, when you have a punt return for a touchdown, and a 100-yard interception return for a touchdown, that's a fluke, ladies and gentlemen. That's not anything to say about the defense. It's just one of those nights, one of those games where the right bounces and everything went the way that it needed for something like that to happen. I mean, it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen, and the greatest defenses haven't had days and nights like that. And the Eagles still only won by 7, and still gave the Patriots a chance to tie the game at the end. So let's simmer down a little bit, Eagle fans. I like Buffalo to be able to put up a lot of points on that defense. Those were a lot of fluke calls. The Eagles' defense hasn't suddenly gotten better or good. They're still horrible. Tyrod Taylor's on fire right now, as well as Sammy Watkins. LaShawn McCoy is running the ball extremely well right now. This is about as much of a lock as I can call for this week. Yes, I know Philly's at home, but I like Buffalo in this one. I like them a lot. Next up, we have probably the worst game on the slot of games to have to watch. I won't be watching it because I will be in the stadium tomorrow watching the Bucks. But the 49ers travel into Cleveland. Johnny Manziel is going to be back at the helm for the Browns. And as much as he's not really good, I think he's a little bit better for them right now, if that's saying much. The 49ers, man, I'll tell you what, they are surprisingly playing well with Blaine Gabbert. Defensively, they're playing pretty decent. I almost want to pick the 49ers in this one, but I'm going contrarian. I'm going to actually take the Browns just because they're at home. So let's go with the Browns this week. Why not? And next up, like I said, I will be at this game. The Saints are coming to town. Their Saints are already in town. come here and face the Buccaneers. The Buccaneers beat the Saints the first time around. You just can't figure out the Saints other than that they are horrible. That defense is the worst thing I've ever seen. They've got the worst corner. Browner is the worst corner in the league. Leads the league in penalties. Leads the league in getting toasted. This could be a huge, huge day for Mike Evans unless he ends up lining up against Vincent Jackson. Then go ahead and put Vincent Jackson in your lineups. Actually, put them both in anyway. Could be a big day for the Buccaneers offense. I'm hoping so because I really want to see him put it on them. This could be a shootout for that matter because, I think New Orleans can still put up points. But maybe they exhausted themselves last week putting up all those points on Carolina. I like the Buccaneers in this game, and I want to walk out of that stadium tomorrow with another win. It's so nice being there with a win rather than all them losses have been going through for so long. Next up, to tap out another 1 o'clock game, Seahawks make a trip across country and travel into Baltimore. Baltimore is just a mess right now, just ravished with injuries. Their secondary is really bad. Russell Wilson starting to turn it on a little bit. Doug Baldwin has just been on fire the last 3 to 4 weeks. Thomas Rawls is running the ball really well. I still don't think the Seahawks are that great, but they are playing well of late the last couple weeks. So they've improved from 5-5 to 7-5. Buccaneers really need the Seahawks to lose. I really want them to lose to the Ravens, but it's probably very unlikely that's going to happen. So I am taking the Seahawks in this one. Next up, San Diego travels into Kansas City. Kansas City, as you know, is a tough place to play. Kansas City's actually playing quite well right now as well. And I like the Chiefs in this matchup. The Chargers are just a mess right now. They can't get anything going offensively, which is a shocker. Well, sort of. They've lost all their receivers for the most part. They're down to, they just lost more this week. It's going to be Antonio Gates and maybe Stevie Johnson getting the ball this week. They can't get the run game going. Melvin Gordon is looking like a bust. Just can't. Danny Woodhead's been non-existent. I don't know. I don't know what to say. So next up, we got the obviously my next pick, the Jaguars. The Colts come into town in Jacksonville. I'm going to take the Jacksonville in this one. This is my upset for the week. I like the Jags' chance. The Jags are just putting up points, man. They just couldn't get it done against Tennessee last week. It was that fourth quarter just blew up for those two teams. It was like an arena game for a little while there. The fourth quarter, 42-38 game there, and Jacksonville came up a little short, but I think they're going to pull it out this week, put some points up on the board against the Colts. And, it's unsure who the Colts are going to have. If it's going to be Charlie Whitehurst at quarterback, I definitely feel a lot more comfortable with this pick. We'll have to see who's going to play quarterback for the Colts. Next up, you have the Titans traveling to the New York Jets. You had a nice win over the New York Giants last week, and I'm going to look for the Jets to kind of win again this week. Titans rolling in there. Jets are a little bit on a roll of sorts. Defense playing a little pretty well. Offensively, Fitzpatrick still looks pretty good. Chris Ivory's still a little banged up. Bilal Powell, 90 yards receiving last week out of the backfield. I like the Jets to win this one. Big matchup of the week, probably the biggest game of the week. I really wish I could see it. I'm going to take the Bengals over the Steelers. Steelers coming to town in Cincinnati. This is a make-it-or-break-it game. Bengals win this one. The Steelers are out of a playoff spot right now as it is, even at 7-5. They're sitting on they're the first team out, and this would definitely put them behind the 8 ball some more if they lose this game. They win it. Certainly bodes well for them. I like the Bengals in this one, though. Again, Pittsburgh is vulnerable, and I just don't like their defense. It's just not that good. Cincinnati, Andy Dalton's on fire right now. I look for a big day from A.J. Green. Could be a big day for Marvin Jones and Tyler Eifert as well. I just see a lot of, and the Steelers are going to be chucking the ball. Roethlisberger's put up 350 plus yards for the last 3 or 4 weeks now, I think. So they're going to be chucking it around a yard. Bengals have a little bit better defense, but they're definitely vulnerable as well. So I look for, they might lock down Antonio Brown a little bit. So I look for Martavius Bryant to get definitely some big yards there. D'Angelo Williams probably have a big day. It's going to be a really exciting game. I have a feeling. Although the first time they played, it was 16-13 game or 19-16, something like that. I look at it to be the shootout game that everybody's expecting. Moving on to the 4 o'clock games, you probably just already saw it flash on the screen there. The Raiders travel into Denver. Still not a true believer in Denver all that much, but defensively they're definitely solid. Offensively, I think they're actually better now with Brock Osweiler in there. I almost wish Peyton Manning would get thrown back in there because that's their Achilles heel. But now Brock Osweiler is playing well enough for that team to continue to win, and I do like the Broncos over the Raiders this week. Coming up next, Cowboys travel to Green Bay, and you'll see popping up here in a minute. I'm definitely going to be going with the Packers in this one. I look for this to be a low-scoring game. It's going to be in Green Bay. Green Bay's offense is also they just can't get anything done either. You just don't know what you're going to get from them. Rodgers is Rodgers. He's still very good, but, you don't know if Lacey's going to run the ball or not, or if he's going to get benched at the last minute. Starks get the ball, so you don't know who's going to run it there. Cobb has been just disappearing all season. I don't know. Green Bay just had that miracle win, against the Lions last week, which, probably never should have happened. But I look for Green Bay to get it done. I look for this to be a low-scoring event. The Cowboys, believe it or not, are still in the mix to win their division. Cowboy fans rejoice, whatever. Next game, the Sunday night slate. In the Sunday night game, this is a Sunday night flex game. This was not the original game to be scheduled, but they moved it because the Texans have finally gotten a good team, and of course it is the Patriots. Patriots travel to Houston. Patriots have not lost 3 games in a row since 2002. Again, that loss to the Eagles last week was a bit of a fluke situation. I do not see the Patriots losing 3 in a row. Just don't find that, going to happen. Going with the Patriots here, and don't look now, folks. But Gronk was back in the practice field. Edelman was back on the practice field. You had Amendola return last week. This team's starting to get healthy again. Hightower's coming back. So everybody that's panicking and saying the Patriots are dead because they've lost 2 in a row, not really worried yet. Not really worried now. As long as they can get this healthy team back to where it was earlier, they're going to be just fine. They lost 4 games last year, won the Super Bowl. 10-2 is nothing to sneeze at. Just because you lost 2 in a row don't mean a thing. So Patriots will roll and get it going. And on your Monday night slot, unless you have fantasy implications, I'm not sure, or a fan of either one of these teams. Giants travel to South Florida, face the Dolphins. The Dolphins are spiraling out of control, but you could also say the Giants are as well. They've lost 3 straight. The Giants continue to blow games in the fourth quarter. I think that if they could be easily 10-2, I guess, if they had 72 less minutes or something like that on the season. I think I saw something this week. Well, guess what? The game is 60 minutes. Play 60. And stop blowing double-digit leads in the fourth quarter. And you might be 10-2, but you're not. 5-7. You've lost 3 in a row. But you're going to win one this week. I like the Giants in this one. Dolphins are just vulnerable as well in that secondary. They're a little banged up as well. Offensively, the Dolphins are a mess. They're on their 3rd offense coordinator. I suspect that the Dolphins will hopefully go this week and get a lot of Lamar Miller and finally get that run game going, which will open up that passing game. I think, Tannehill can get some yards in this game. The Giants secondary, we've seen how bad they are, which is why they keep blowing fourth quarter leads. It could be an interesting game. I got some fantasy implications, so I'll probably keep an eye on it. But I like the Giants in this one. So those are the Week 14 picks. Now, I will be coming on the air for a full show here very shortly. Stay tuned for some announcements on that. Get on the page. Let me see your NFL picks for this week. See how they match up with mine. And as always, tune in to 2 Cents Sports. This is Scuba, your host. Appreciate you all listening. Thank you very much. Have a great, great Sunday, and however you wish and choose to spend it.